His voice, gentle yet haunting. His lyrics, poetic and introspective. Nick Drake is one of the most enigmatic figures in the history of music, a singer-songwriter whose life was as complex and mysterious as his music. Born on June 19, 1948 in Rangoon, Burma, Nick Drake's early life was shaped by a family that moved frequently due to his father's work as a colonial administrator. But it wasn't until he returned to England that music became the focus of his life. Drake's early years were marked by academic success, studying at Cambridge University. But it was during these years that he began to discover his passion for music, teaching himself guitar and writing songs that would later define his unique sound. In 1969, Drake signed with Island Records and released his debut album, 5 Leaves Left. The album, with its melancholic tone and intricate guitar work, was an immediate critical success, though it didn't find a large audience. Still, its emotional depth resonated with those who heard it. Songs like Riverman and Time Has Told Me showcased Nick Drake's skill at blending folk, jazz, and classical influences, while his voice, fragile yet captivating, drew listeners into a world of beauty and sorrow. Despite the growing critical acclaim, Drake's personal life was filled with struggles. He was shy, introverted, and often troubled by bouts of depression. Live performances were few and far between, as his anxiety and difficulty connecting with large audiences prevented him from touring extensively. In 1971, Nick Drake returned to the studio to record his second album, Brighter Later. It marked a shift in sound, with more elaborate arrangements and a greater use of orchestration. While the album was more accessible, it still reflected his somber outlook, with tracks like Hazy Jane Tattoo and Northern Sky. Although the album was a step toward mainstream appeal, it didn't bring Nick Drake the recognition he longed for. The pressure of expectation, coupled with his inner turmoil, weighed heavily on him. By 1972, Nick Drake withdrew even further from the public eye. He retreated to his family's home in Tanworth-in-Arden, where he would work on his final album, Pink Moon. Released in 1972, Pink Moon was recorded in just 2 days, with Drake playing solo on guitar and piano. The album, raw and stripped down, felt like a culmination of his inner world, simple, haunting, and vulnerable. Tracks like Pink Moon and From the Morning captured a sense of resignation and grace. Although Pink Moon is now regarded as one of Drake's most influential works, it initially failed to chart or gain much attention. But over time, its haunting beauty and emotional depth would resonate with generations of listeners. In the years following Pink Moon, Nick Drake's mental health continued to deteriorate. Struggling with depression and isolation, he withdrew even further from the public eye, never achieving the fame his music deserved. On November 25, 1974, at the age of 26, Nick Drake passed away from an overdose of amitriptyline, a prescription drug. Though his death was ruled as a suicide, the full circumstances remain a mystery to this day. Though his life was short, Nick Drake's influence has been profound. In the decades since his death, his music has found a lasting place in the hearts of listeners around the world. From his melancholic melodies to his poignant lyrics, Nick Drake remains an iconic figure in the world of music, forever remembered as a master of emotional expression. Nick Drake may have lived in the shadows, but his music shines on, illuminating the complexities of the human soul. This is Nick Drake,